this is a relationship business. If you can develop a couple key relationships and you become friends, there's one buyer here in the Grand Rapids marketplace that's one of the best buyers. And one of my good relationships is like best friends with this dude, right? Maybe not best friends, but they're pretty tight. And I know him. I have his phone number. We've talked on the phone. I've sold him properties directly. However, when I call this other dude and I'm like, yo, I got a deal that I think would be good for so-and-so, when he calls so-and-so, I get a better price every time. I get a better price every time. That dude will hit me at a lower price, but for his buddy, because his buddy's involved, even though he's getting a fee as well, I get a better price on the side. And so guys, don't let anybody tell you this isn't a relationship business. Buyers buy based on how they feel. Okay. Buyers might look at some numbers, but it's first, how do they feel about the deal? Are they confident? Is it their area? Do they want to do it? And then they'll justify it with the numbers. You know, what's that saying? It's like every man has two reasons why he buys something. The first reason is the one he really wants, and the second one is the one he justifies to his wife, right? It's the first reason. It's not always the numbers, guys. I know it might seem like that.
How we go into detail and how we come up with an offer price. Okay.
That's that's a
real
great
quick,
question.
Go
ahead.
Quick, I want to answer this real quick before you do, and then I want to get your opinion, Ron.
Go ahead.
This, because we were talking about relationships, okay? This is exactly why we do this, okay? Because we talk about relationships, guess what I do? I go to my buyer and I say, what would you pay for this? Okay? Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but if it's a buyer I trust, that I know they're not going to go behind me, shoot them the photos. What do you think? You know, I give them a roundabout price where we kind of need to be. Maybe shoot it up a little bit, you know. But my buyers know that I want all feedback. Okay? Just because you lowball me doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and say no. I want to know why you lowball me. I want to know why you're here and not here. Okay? Or why you're here and not here. Okay? So that I can learn throughout this whole process. All right? That's how I gain the knowledge from in all the different areas and by listening to my buyers. Okay? So how I usually come in, I listen to what my buyers are saying on all the different type of areas and all the different types of deals. Now, with that being said, I do look at the comps, and I've been doing 70% minus repairs in the suburbs, but in Detroit, it's almost 50%.
In some circumstances, absolutely. Like, reach out to your buyer and figure it out. And initially, if you don't know how to value prices or know what people are going, that's a great way to kind of learn, right? And kind of get the information. However, what I like to do, if you're in a city location where there is quite a bit of activity, is if you go to the MLS and you pull all the data from the last 6 months, you can create what's called a pivot table. Now, you guys can Google how to do this, okay? But if you create a pivot table, you can create a pivot table based on 3 categories. Well, it's based on one category when multiple factors, but you can say, hey, I want to create a pivot table based on finance type. And you can see the average sales per zip code for conventional, FHA, and cash. And so you can see literally the MLS prices per zip code on the different financing type for the MLS. Well, this will give you a good picture. And then you can also, if you're techie enough, you can set it in there where you can select the number of bathrooms or bedrooms and bathrooms. So you can say 3 beds with the 3 and it'll tell you. And so you pull all the data from the MLS, you export it into an Excel sheet, and then you create a pivot table. Well, what this will allow you to do is if you do this once a quarter, every 3 months, because real estate trends in quarters, you pull the data, which you can get from a real estate agent. You might have to coach them a little bit. You pull it, you put it into a pivot table. Well, now you have a 3-month running average of what the cash sales are per zip code.
Back, what are you doing in your business right now I'm sure you're still wholesaling. I'm sure you're
Yep.
still doing some flipping. And I'm sure you're still, you know, so tell us what you're doing right now in your business.
So yesterday, not like yesterday, but yesterday as in before rates started going higher, okay, this was, let me solve any major problems in my business.
Mm-hmm.
Let me figure out the strategic direction we want. And what's today's revenue? Focus on today, get the money today as fast as possible. Okay. Since the market has shifted, this is what I'm focused on. I'm focused on raising funds so I have the capital when opportunities come across, right? This is managing my private money, managing my cash, managing the amount that I have available to make sure I can ride and that I constantly have that, and just watching that number like a hawk.
Yep.
And number two is I am very heavily managing deal flow. And so when you talk about what is your plan? Are you wholesaling? Are you doing sub two? I'm transitioning more into the creative financing. Like, I want to do creative finance deals. If you guys are out there and are wholesalers and are running into these properties where people own a lot, I can help you with those dead leads. Like, I can help you close those, and I want to close more of those properties. But for me, it's about deal flow. It's about cash flow. Yeah.
What are you using to get your leads?
So Dave, here's what I recommend. Cold calling is the number one way to get consistent income of leads. If you hire a cold caller, I use call motivated sellers. They're very expensive. They're in US callers. They're $22 an hour. They call 4 hours a day. Okay. They're fairly expensive per caller, but they've been qualified for 5 years or more. That's who I use. That will give you an influx. Just one will give you an influx of 2 to 4 leads a day. If you get 3 of them, just do the math, right? You'll have 6 to 10 leads a day. That'll create
how many hours a day are you having them?
4 hours a day each.
Okay.
I have 2 right now, so I have 8 hours a day of calling. Okay.
Gotcha.
I just fired my 3rd one, and we're looking for another one. So cold calling, number 1. It creates consistency. Then I do text messaging as well. And then I do very tailored direct mail. Here's a tip, since you're still on here, Dave. Your direct mail, when you skip trace your list, you skip trace the list, it's going to come up with a whole bunch of phone numbers. At the bottom of that list, there's going to be a whole bunch of records that do not have phone numbers. That is who you direct mail. Okay, you direct mail the people that do not have phone numbers at the bottom of your skip trace list, because they are not getting called. Okay, from there, once you send them into cold calling, whenever you get a deal, if you're doing it virtually, awesome, do it virtually. But if you go in person, get there 30 minutes early and drive the neighborhood. Get the app Deal Machine on your phone and drive the neighborhood and take a picture of at least 5 properties per appointment that you do. If you've got an acquisition coordinator, have your acquisition coordinator do it on the app, and you'll get 5 driving for dollars leads for every appointment you go on, which will plug into your system, which are not on any list. And then the third thing I would say, bro, if you're struggling for deals, this is a ninja move. I've taught quite a few newbies to do this. The ninja move is call the city. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Detroit or where you're at. Call the city, figure out the trash routes. Okay. Once you figure out the trash routes, go out on trash night and drive that route, whatever that is. In every house that does not have a trash can out, take a picture with the Deal Machine app and mark it to them or cold call them. Reason why is they didn't put their trash out. Yeah, they might live there, they might be on vacation, but they might be vacant too. And there's no other indicator showing that it's vacant. It's a really, really good strategy. And if you want a 4th one, if you want to do internet driving for dollars, do the Google Street View. This works for virtual markets like Phoenix, Texas, hotter areas, Florida. Look at on the map from the top view. Look at the houses with a pool in the background, but from the top view, the pool will be empty. And so you'll see ones where it's blue because there's water. You'll see other ones where the pool is actually empty, or it's dark, or it's like green. write those addresses down and hit them. Those are fantastic ways to get deals right now, today, in the market. But for me,